start the stream. Hopefully that gets started up. Come on. Come on, YouTube. Come on. Do the thing, YouTube. Thank you. There we go. Hello, I am Socket Wench, and this is the Socket Bench, and now you have double hand action. No, I am not now a centaur, but if you identify as one, there's nothing wrong with that. So one thing that I did is after I put the shoulder cam in, that turned out to be one of the most popular camera setups that I've ever done on this channel, which surprised the heck out of me. But you know, I really missed the bench cam. The bench cam's nice. The bench cam lets you see the bench, but there's always been a problem with the bench cam, which is that the bench cam isn't wide enough to capture all of the bench. Well, it turns out you can get wide angle webcams. And in fact, this old Logitech C930 that I got for 30 bucks off of eBay just works on Linux. It doesn't care. It doesn't need anything special. And we're going to try it out today as our new bench cam. We'll see how well it works. So the nice thing is that it has a much wider area. You can actually see a lot more of my messy bench than you could before. So now you can continue to harp on me. Instead of seeing like this much of my bench, you can see all of it. I figured that if we're going to keep the bench cam at all when we still have the shoulder cam, why not just go ahead and make this the wide cam so you can see more stuff? It seemed to make sense at the time. I could be wrong. The angry comments could be loading up as we speak. You know, if anyone was actually watching, which no one is. I haven't even started my music yet. I should probably go and get that. Let's see here. I think it's this one. I don't remember what size those are. Is it that one? It is that one. You'd think that I would recognize which one of these is the M3 at this point, considering how often I've done nothing but M3s on this channel. But nope. Nope. I still don't recognize it. Alright, we have, not that one, this one. We have another one of these nonsense things, and I'm going to put threaded inserts first so that it stops running away on my bench, because that's getting annoying. And then we'll lug the Switchwire over and do stuff with it. Eventually, I'll probably even see about what to do with the so-called server closet, which is over that direction from my perspective in my house, which is a brick closet that is in my basement in this half-repurposed room that was somebody's bedroom at some point. They had clothes rod holders up there and everything, and I'm like, you would live down here? Half of the walls aren't finished, man. But somebody did, at some point, live down here and make this their room. So, okay. Cool. If that works for you. It seems to be a much better place for a shop than it does for anything else. I know that I think Dave's Vintage Apple Tech is actually doing a stream right now, so I don't expect anyone to join today. I could be wrong, but I don't think that anyone's going to show up. I think that it's just you, me, and in fact, I just forgot, I haven't put my headphones on yet, to listen to Soma FM, which is currently having their all-day drone zone, and that is what I would like to listen to, because that is nice and relaxing when you're in the shop. One earphone. Actually, no. We'll just put one earphone in. One problem with the wired headphones is that I usually only listen in one ear, not both. But when I do that, I usually disconnect a little bit too hard, and then just in case someone else in the house has an emergency and needs to hear me and needs me to hear, well, I won't be able to because I'll have headphones in, and that can be a bit of a problem. And that worry sticks in the back of my head. So I don't like doing that if I don't have to. Anyways, I still have these bench bagels here. Actually, is this you know what? This camera's leaning, isn't it? It's getting more and more sad as the day goes on, you know? Mood, really. I know what that feels like. There we go. Let's fix that. The bench is slightly messier than usual because in the middle of my workday on Thursday, my boss asked me, "Hey, I need a USB-C cable that's kind of cursed. Can you do you have one?" And I told him, "Nope, I don't have one, but I can make one." And that's when the MacGyver theme started up in my brain. And I put together a cursed USB-C socket to USB-C socket adapter. A little shorty guy. I'm pretty sure that worked out because I haven't heard any complaints since. I did test it. It seemed to work. It is technically an illegal USB-C cable. You're not supposed to create couplers, extension cables, or any of that nonsense. The USB-C consortium looks highly down upon you for doing such terrible shenanigans to their precious standard. And, you know, to be honest, there are good reasons for that standard, and they do make sense, as much as they cause lots of inconvenience to normal, average people. And the USB-A standard has none of that bull that we care about. So, besides, they did not need full USB-C PD speeds, they just needed USB 1.1. So USB-C degrades down to USB 1.1 gracefully, so I made a socket-to-socket USB-C adapter that was electrically a USB 1.1 coupler. That was all it really was. There's nothing special. There we go. That fits. I've been trying to redesign these bench bagels. I'm wondering if I should try making captive nuts like I did with these, like I did with the PCB vise, and just have these bolt all the way through. Because it occurs to me that when you pull upwards on this, the only thing that's really holding it together is actually the threaded inserts in this design. If they were bolted through, it would have to go through the entire model, much like the PCB vise. I'm still kicking that design idea around because I actually don't know if I want to do that yet. But now I have two of these PCB things, and I'm thinking I might send these to Big Bad Biologist minus the sand, because the sand will cost me money to send him. Unless if he wants the sand too. I can include a copy of Darude's Sandstorm instead. That counts, right? No? Oh, shoot. Okay. Another thing that I had worked on in the interim is I had designed this little bracket. This bracket is meant to hold this ADXL sensor board from Big Tree Tech. And it's meant to go on the Enderwire bed so that it works very nicely. And it's also meant to route through, and you can see there's cable tie anchors throughout this. But we didn't have enough USB cabling, so I needed to put down $4 to get more plugs. Well, now we have the plugs, now we can make cable. Okay, so that's probably what we'll start with, since I already have most of my USB-C kit out anyways. Use something to drink here. What do we got? We have... I actually am almost out of of brewed coffee. So when that happens, my special brew, I actually go and buy cans of brew. This is what is this? Pop and bottle mocha cold brew oat milk. Well, let's give that a try. How bad can this be? Oat milk and I don't usually work, but let's try it. Huh. Feels like drinking chocolate oatmeal with coffee. Well, that's not bad for a treat. We'll try that. We'll see how well it hits me. Yeah, no. Okay, this one it's single-sided. It's just like all of the other ones that I've had. And there's a little, these ones have little sleeves on them. I'm trying to actually find out. The only downside is that the wiring harness is really tiny. It might be almost too tiny for what we have. I'm gonna go dig through my wire collection and see what we got. Because for this one, we should use not silicone, we should use PTFE. And I got that roll, which is all the same color, which is not ideal, but, you know, we have it. And I have a bunch of this mystery stuff. Oh, this is bell wire, isn't it? No? Well, maybe. I can't tell. And there's multiple colors of it, which would be handy. What is the gauge on these? Okay, it's stranded core. That's feels thicker. This one does not need nearly as much. Yeah, that's definitely thinner. Still no viewers, which means I could do anything. I could say that this is the Brack Show. Da 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 da. It's the Brack Show, starring me. I'm Brack. Brack Show, and I've got lots of cool guests. Da 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 da. Okay, this one should actually hold 4 lines. I could try using the color-coded cable. Oh, no, I couldn't. By the time I get 4 of those through there, it is going to jam, isn't it? Well, let's find out. Let's... it's really tight, but I could get all 4 of those in there if I wanted. I don't have another roll of PTFE wire, do I? I do. I've got a red one. Would that fit? Because there's an advantage in using color. Wow. Yeah, you can get that through there, just barely. But will it fit through the plastic housing? I don't need to use the plastic housing, but the plastic housing would be awfully nice to use if I could. This is part of the planning phase. We're trying to see if we could actually do the thing before we do the thing. Because I don't want to cut meters and meters of PTFE cabling before we're absolutely certain that all of this will work. Come on. No, no, no. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. And I think the answer is not really. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. So I think what we're gonna have to do is not use the color-coded stuff. I can try again, but I'm almost certain that's not gonna work because there just isn't enough line. If I can get it through, that's different, but we have to thread each color through. Again, this is USB 1.1, so we only have to worry about 4 conductors, not, oh god, numbers of conductors. I'm going to knock something over on my bench, and it's going to disappear, and I'll never find it again. And I will be a sad, sad wench, because I will not have found it. It will join wherever my good tweezers went. I am in the Missing Tweezers Club now. I blame Steve for this. Everyone knows who I'm talking about. It's probably on the floor somewhere. I just haven't cleaned it yet. This has been a running theme of my year, has been cleaning. I don't have time to do that. I have all this existential dread I need to catch up on. Who has time to clean things? Okay. Get that all as far through as I can, and try to work the twists out of the cable sleeve. Oh man. Oh, they make this nearly impossible. I swear if I get this, we're just gonna go for it. I'm just not gonna try. Oh, are you kidding me? Look at that. We got it! Well, okay. In the immortal words of Aaron Soon, fell me dead. Ah, good. We've lost a viewer. I feel safer already. Okay, I really need to clean this bench. Every time I say that, my bench seems like it might get slightly cleaner, and then my bench very suddenly and catastrophically becomes a lot less cleaner. If I had some higher gauge PTFE wire, we could also just redo the entire umbilical for the Y-axis, but I don't think I do. I only have some high gauge silicone that's in there, so we're going to stick with that. That's still pretty warm. And let's see here. Let's use... All of these tips have problems. All of them do. But I was really enjoying using the SMD one the last time. It just requires a lot more patience. Yeah, that's cool enough. Yeah, that's cool enough. I can just put that away. Okay. There we go. Boom. I guess this means it's microscope time. I still haven't set up the control codes to swap the inputs using my macro pad, so we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. It won't work the first time. Of course it doesn't. But I did learn an interesting thing, which is if I switch the inputs around a few different times, suddenly it works. Who would have guessed? Okay, ground V, D plus, D minus, and V. V, the original miniseries, not the remake miniseries, and certainly not the television series, because, oh god, that was terrible. Who's talking to me? Someone's talking to me. I keep hearing my streaming PC go ba-deep. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's fine. Alright, whatever. Whatever. We have all of this. Okay, well, ground is going to be blue. How's that? Each one of these is these tiny little ones, too, so you have to do these little nubbins. See? Nubbin. And then it's D positive, which I'm going to say is yellow, because it's a warmer color than green. Who would have guessed that color theory is actually useful in electronics? Maybe I should have used the other one. The bigger tip. Green already has a whole end here, but it's too long. I'm gonna trim that. Why is my trash can way the heck over there? And finally, red for V positive. Okay. And then comes the fun part of trying to get all of this nonsense to fit in an extremely small area. And not be shorted, too. Whee! Tweezers, thank you. So I'll probably need you to control where you go. Yeah. come back here. And at some point, it just becomes such a fiasco to actually hold all of these wires in here. It's like, this doesn't want to stay still, and this doesn't want to stay still. How many of these things do I have to, like, clamp on here to get this to stay still? Well, that's fun. That one only has solder on that side. Oh. Adventure. Nope, that does not want to behave. Okay. We need to put solder on that side too. Come on. Come on, you silly thing. There we go. That should make it easier. Questionable USB-C cables done quick. That's my new brand. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That all looks fairly solid. Let's give that a look three-dimensionally. It doesn't look great three-dimensionally at all. Of course it doesn't. I'm gonna break this as I try getting it into the shroud, aren't I? There's no way that I'm not gonna just snap this somehow. First of all, that does not want to go in there because of the height. So we're gonna have to trim all of that off. Almost. It's almost in there. Okay. I think that's going to be as close as I'm going to manage to get that. It's a little crooked, but it's in there. So that's fun. Can we get the, oh, we can. Okay, so we can get the heat shrink around it too, which is useful. And it fits, I hope. Yeah, okay. So then it just becomes we route at here, to here, to here. And then, as long as we've got it, then all the way through the entire umbilical of the entire printer. Which we don't know how long it is. Do we want to guess? Well, okay. There's two different ways that we can do that. I can try to clear off the bench, put the switch wire on the bench, and then try to guess how long that cable is. That'd probably work. It'd just be a bit frustrating. So let's do that. Also give me the opportunity to clear off some of the tools from the bench before we put the printer back on it. Because there's a lot of wayward tools on the bench right now. Move this out of the way too, because oh, I dropped one of the spools too. That's great. Well, fun times. Fun. Need to get this off of here too. Okay. And let's switch back from the bench cam to, let's try a different view this time. Let's try the shoulder cam, because that's the only one that's going to be useful in this one case. You know what? Screw it. We're going to do the shoulder, because that already does have that. Okay. And take the microscope out of the way. Clear off what we can, because now we have to get the big girl on here and figure out how much cable we have to put on there. Oh, imagine if I was doing this with a board on 2.4. Oh, it'd be so heavy. This thing's already heavy enough. Okay, so you can see that the way that this is supposed to work is that it mounts on here, and the cable's going to start from here-ish, and it needs to go all the way around and then into the case. So what we need is we need a runner to figure out how much of that we need to do. And ideally, not that. How about we use that white cable that we had before? Because this white cable is right here. It's nice and long. And we can kind of guess how long that needs to be. So we want that to go around there up to here. So thread that through. We get about that long, and then we need to get to wherever the pie is, which I think is actually on the other side of the chamber. So I think it needs to go across here to about that long. That's how long it needs to be. Probably. Maybe. That long. Okay, and that's our measurement stick, as it were. Ooh, don't drop the printer. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. There we go. Whew. Okay, so here's our runner. This is how long that run of cable is supposed to be, in theory, more bedeeps. Who's bedeeping me? People keep doing this, and I don't know who they are. What do you want from me? It's fine. I'm just being silly. Okay. Now, a good question is, where did that cable go that I just made? Did I make it even worse by trying to do what I was doing? I think I did. And the yellow one's already on the floor, so let's start with the yellow one. Okay, now we judged it from around this point, so we have to make sure to account for this additional length as well. So we'll start from here, take our yardstick, and we just trace the cable all the way through until we get to the end point. And there we go. And then I can finally clean up the spool that ended up on the floor. Like, did you long for the floor spool? Like, I understand that. I, too, often feel very lowly. But you can do better than that spool. I'm not going to ask the spool to pick itself up and dust itself off, because I know that it's an inanimate object. Anyone go to DEF CON this week? A lot of people I know are at DEF CON this week, and I've got big jealousy feels about that. It's not fair. Not fair to anybody for me to feel like that, but I feel like that. I feel like that rather severely at the moment. It's because I just can't afford to go. There's no way in heck that I can afford that kind of a trip. It is way too expensive for me. I can barely afford to fix my house, as you can tell by the fundraiser that I'm still running. We're getting closer, though. We're almost at $4,000. Okay, there's the red one. The glamour of USB cable making. They don't tell you this about when you start building 3D printers, is that you'll spend so much time going, I wish I had a USB-C cable that's just exactly this length. And then you go, you know what, I'll just make my own USB-C cables. And then the madness begins. The madness. Speaking of madness, tonight's Monsterdon is In the Mouth of Madness, starring Sam Neill. Rest in peace. So if you want to watch one of Sam Neill's best performances, I would recommend joining Monsterdon this evening. Oh, this is going to be a real problem. This one is twisted around on itself in such a way to make this getting the requisite length very difficult. Oh no. And it's already soldered on that one end. Oh, this is a fiasco. What did I do? If I can get enough cable by making this into even more of a snarled mess, I might be able to cut this. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now, I will not be watching Monsterdon tonight because unfortunately I have already watched In the Mouth of Madness last week. So I'm not going to bother. Unless if my housemate decides that she wants to watch the film, then I will bother. I will go and rewatch it again. But if not, I think I'm going to watch a different movie thread that I got myself onto. Oh, hello, Eddie. You should have, if you wanted to grill with me today, Addie, you should have probably messaged me a lot earlier than that. I already have dinner sorted out and purchased. You'll have to... We could try next weekend, though. If we plan that, it should actually work out. Okay. You know, at this point I'm realizing all of these lengths of cable do not need this standard anymore. We can probably run all of these together. Oh gosh, it's so... PTFE cable is just so unsatisfying to work with. Just look at this. Ah! It's so slippery and it's so messy. It's just, it's very frustrating stuff to work with. Like, I get it. I understand. But, man. Okay. Oh, that's a fiasco. Look how long this thing is. Oh, boy. Arrgh. Good news in my texts. Alright, I'll look. I don't expect good news to happen. I, don't see any texts, Addie. Unless you sent me a signal. You sent me a signal. Okay, that's why. Oh, that is good news. I will not tell anybody what your good news is, but it is good news. Okay. One of my housemate's friends also has similar good news. And that might mean that she's going to go up and visit them for a few weeks in the aftermath of said good news, which I am not telling anybody what it is. This is so real. Look at this. Why? Okay. Now the next question is, how are we going to get this to go through? So now we need to start strategizing about where this goes through on the printer, because normally at this point I would sheathe this and put heat shrink tubing around the edges and then be done with it. But the problem is this is going to go through the umbilical of the y-axis, so we don't want to do all of that. There's something to be said about we might want to do a section of it prior to it going into the umbilical, just so that it doesn't flop around too much. Are you going to go to Micro Center then, Addie? Because if you are, let me know. We'll see how much energy I have. I could certainly go to Micro Center, and I don't know how long I'm going to be working on printer stuff today, because my sleep has been absolutely garbage this week. Oh man, so much garbage sleep. So much garbage sleep. Okay, let's get the printer back on here. Oh, it's heavy. Oh, she's heavy. Now you can see why I got the bench cam now too. Because I can, now you can see both things now. Oh, get them from DigiKey. Yeah, that's fine. Nothing wrong with doing that. Okay. So, few problems. One, we have to route all of these cables through this umbilical down here. And there's a few different ways that we can do that. I can just try to shove the cables through it, and that can sometimes work. With four of these PTFE wires, it can be a bit of an ordeal. Another way is I could try to actually undo the umbilical line here, separate that from the y-axis carriage, and thus make this a straight shot without this bend that's going to probably cause me grief. And I think that's what I'm going to do, because I think anything else is going to be very frustrating. Now, the wiring here, there's nothing special, because the wiring here is the thick one. The thick red one is the heater positive, this is the heater negative, and these two are the thermistors, and these don't matter. So I can actually pull these, and for reasons I don't understand why, I did not put ferrules on these. I wonder if I should do that. And then I need to get to the y-axis carriage and undo that, and that's going to be fun. I think I have to put the printer on its side to do that. Okay. So way up here, where you can barely see it, down in that hole is where the carriage is actually being held in here. So if I can loosen that, wherever I put my screwdriver, there it is, there you are. I can try to loosen it from there. Okay. I think I'm going to need the bendy attachment in order to get to that. Yeah, no one's sleeping the last week. It seemed like I'm not sleeping, you're not sleeping, my housemate isn't sleeping. No one is getting good sleep this week. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it's August and we're all just like, with August already. And I lost that screw. So that's going to be an adventure to find wherever the heck that went off to. Come on. And I dropped that one too. On the floor nonetheless. Oh, I don't know if there's a weird celestial thing happening. I'm just assuming that it's some combination of August and a whole bunch of other stuff that is just making everyone go. It could also be like a temperature adjustment thing. Like it was very, very warm in Minnesota. Okay, that's gonna be fun. No. You're not gonna... You don't get to run away. Ah, damn you. Oh, well, I found the other screw at least. There you are. Really a pain in the butt to get to this little section back here. Okay, now to try to flip the printer back up without damaging it, the bench, or myself. And then now it's just a straight shot. If we wanted to, I could also try disconnecting it from here to make it much easier to just thread through. But the other end is connected to the printer already. what do we want to do? The easiest would probably be, I mean, if I had some fish tape or something like that, I could probably make that work. The problem is there's just these four floppy conductors, and they're just such a pain in the butt in order to thread. I can try threading them, but then if I do it like that, what's going to happen is it's just going to flop all around. I think what might be better... Oh... Can I get the USB-C connector through? Let's find out. Because if I can do that... Okay, that's working better than I expected. Right until it gets jammed somewhere. Okay, fine. Let's just keep doing that. Now it's starting to bind up. Okay, I believe in you. You can do it. You can do it. It's so close, and yet it's not anywhere near as close as it needs to be. Isn't working on printers fun? It's so much fun. Look at it. We're all having fun right now, aren't we? Okay, what are you stuck on? What are you stuck on in there? Come on. Ah, jeez. Someone increment the odd G's counter. We have one of those, right? What are you stuck on? What are you stuck on in there? There we go. Okay, the good news is we actually have that threaded to some extent. Oh, wow, what a mess that was. Okay. Now I guess we have to do the reverse. We have to get this mounted back on the carriage and then get that secured. All right, so we tip the printer again. Drag the entire carriage over. Okay. And then wrap those over there so that we can get to the mount point here and try to force those parts back into their places. which is going to be even more fun than it was trying to get them out of there in the first place. Because now we have to work against gravity and also have to work against every other bit of force that we have to deal with here, because this is now flopping around. Oh. Are you frickin' serious? This is the part of the build that always involves swearing, so industrial language will be in use. Do not adjust your television set. This is perfectly normal for this part of the process. Okay. There, we got one. The first one's the hardest. At least let's hope that it is, because it gets so frustrating to try to get all of this wired up. Apparently there's also a cable tie anchor here in this little tiny bracket, and I don't have that populated and didn't before either. I guess I decided it wasn't necessary. It never did seem like it was. I never had problems with the bed connectors before, so... Come on. No! Tiny screws, I tell you. Tiny screws! Arrgh. There we go. That was an ordeal. We got it, but oh man, that was a thing. Okay, let's flip the printer again. Okay. Get that out of the way. And first, I just try to get all of the original bed cables back in their little homes. Like so. And then it's a matter of trying to get enough cable for this mount. And we still haven't actually put the mount on. So I wonder if we should try doing that next. These ones are going to be real fun because there's a floating nut down there, which makes it particularly fun to get this mounted. That's also why I'm doing this one at a time. Do I need to get longer bolts for this? I think I do. What are these anyways? Let's go find out. What sort of bolts do I have for this? Oh, those look about right, but I think they're way too long. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll be just fine. That feels way too long. What these ones are these sticking out? No. I don't exactly buy that these are too short. And yet, that just spins and spins and spins and does not contact that nut. And I don't know if that's because it needs to be have some back pressure applied to it or what. That just does not feel like it's capturing anything. And this one is sticking out and perilously close to that linear rail, so I'm not thrilled about that. But these are, that's the only size of those I've got. Do I have any others that are just hiding in my bench somewhere? Do I need to go to my parts bin and see if I have any more hiding in there? I think I do. These feel like M4s to me, so let's go find out. Definitely not those. What about these? Ah, hello. These look really promising. What do you know? I actually had another set of M4s, M4 button heads that are exactly the additional height that we need, probably because I used it for these. So it should just be a matter of getting this in here and then pulling that other one out because it's way too long. Oh yeah, that is seating very nicely. Okay, let's get this out because that's way too long. Come on. there we go. Okay, that part's too long. Goes into this bin. This should be just the right length. Yeah, there we go. That's seating very nicely. I can feel it. And there we go. All right. Beautiful. And so what I'm thinking is I might want to finish the wrap around maybe here. Do I have any tape or anything I can put that in? No. Okay. So we're just going to do that. That's close enough. We'll just put a slight bend in it, and that should tell us, yes, around there is how long we want that. Because after that, it feeds right through here and goes into the case. Okay, so now we want to sheathe this up. It's a bit questionable if sheathing this is a good idea when it's underneath the bed like this, but you know, whatever. Okay, now we need to take the cable out. Just kidding. We're not going to do that. But what we do need to do is we need to take this piece of heat shrink and we need to make enough of a seal on either end. This is just so that this collection of cables doesn't flop all over the place, making a problem for all of us. This will be very ergonomic. Oh yes. This will be the most ergonomic thing that I will do all day. So comfortable. So last night my riffing group watched Invaders from Mars, the 1986 Golden Globus remake of the 50s film, starring the same actress who played Kai Wynn. That was a treat. The child lead is not a very good actor in that film. But I have the distinct impression that Golan and Globus, or whomever decided to just make this whole film, just really liked that movie as a kid and wanted to do their own modern version of it. Because it really the whole film feels like somebody's wish fulfillment. Oh, hey John. We are still working on the Switchwire. I am trying to get this cursed and as of yet untested USB-C cable into this poor robot. Bad movies and robots. All I need now is to be shot into space. We need no mad scientists here in Socket Wench Labs. We're our own mad scientist here, dang it. But as I was saying, Yeah, The Invaders from Mars 1986 is it's kind of a fun film. Like it's not good. Um Even by 1986 standards, it feels kind of outmoded. It has every kind of trapping that an older 50s era film, alien invasion film, would have. Every one. But it's still really a fun film. Like, the movie does actually go out of its way to go, yes, we know exactly what we're doing here. Yes, this is silly. We don't care. We just don't. We don't care about what we're doing here. We don't care at all. And I'm like, yes, I respect that. Like, it's very clear that the filmmakers were just having so much fun with this. Um, and to some extent, the actors who actually realized what they were doing, what this film really was going to be, were also having kind of a blast about it too, because it's like the military commander character in this is just ridiculously over the top. Just like, seriously, no, dude, no real character would do this, and that's also kind of the point. It's like, of course they wouldn't. This whole movie is just silly. And it's fine that it's silly. Oh god, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. My wrists are not going to forgive me for the trespasses that I am making against them today. I am going to have to go to RSI confessional all day and beg the RSI priests. Forgive me, doctor, I have sinned. I have done terrible things with my wrists this day. And that's when they told me, okay, we'll put the damn braces back on. Maybe don't do that again. Take some ibuprofen. Now, doesn't that look nice? Look at that. And then we just need to seal up this other end. And it's fine if the cables are exposed at this point too. I just needed them out of the way. There we go. Now, somewhere around here, I think I have some zip ties, maybe, if they didn't end up on the floor by now, which they might have. Or worse, they're under the machine. Did they go? Oh, there they are. Way the heck over here. Oh boy. What a mess. This is oh boy. There we go. That should be fairly constrained, and we just need to tug these cables a bit up. And those should be relatively stable too, where they're at. Okay. So let's see here. Do I want to actually tie any of those down? Is that hubris that I haven't bothered actually testing, if this cable even works yet? Probably is. See how those cable ties should work. Okay. Now the fun part is we need to take all of this mess and shove it through the other side. And the question is, do we want to cable sheath this end as it goes into the printer? Because if we do, we're going to probably want to cable sheath that sooner rather than later, instead of trying to thread it through the other way. And I still haven't put the end on this one yet. Technically there should be enough room, but man, that does not give you a lot of space in there. Well, I've got lots of sheathing, so maybe I should do that first. Side cutters, side cutters, side cutters. Of course, that also means that we need to put a piece of heat shrink on the end. Would you willingly watch the movie again? Which movie? Invaders from Mars? I've watched that movie 4 times already. So yes, I would also watch it again. Not today, but it is a fun film. I wouldn't classify it, as terrible. Some people might think that it's kind of groan-inducing simply because it's kind of outmoded. But beyond that, it's a fun film. If you have enjoyed like 50s alien invasion flicks from the 50s, you'll probably enjoy Invaders from Mars 1986. You'll probably enjoy it. I wouldn't classify it as a terrible film. Just, it's its own thing. It knows exactly what it's doing, and what it's doing is I am trying to be a loving send-up of a somewhat hokey 50s film. I remember on Monsterdon we actually watched both the 86 and the original in 2 successive weekends. That was interesting because you kind of got to compare and contrast the two experiences that way. And I hate to say it, but the 50s one is just not very memorable. It's just not a very memorable film. It has a few moments where it's kind of interesting, but a lot of the time it is just not very good, and a lot of the copies that you can get are also not particularly good either. Whereas the 86 one is a pretty recent film, so you can get, DVD transfers of it. In fact, I think when I got my copy, I got it off of eBay, and it came with the original film in a double pack. So that was actually kind of nice, that you could get both films at the same time. Where is my little tool here? I don't know. It was fun. I enjoyed it, but I also enjoy cheesy films. I build my own robots and I enjoy cheesy movies. There. I am a stereotype. Come on. God. There we go. trying to get this one conductor at a time into this sheathing because it tends to be a little bit easier that way. No. It almost makes more sense that I shouldn't bother putting sheathing on any of this. It's like it just kind of gets in the way, but at the same time I'm like, I really want this to look nice, and sheathing up every individual cable is definitely one way that you can make DIY cables look really, really nice, as opposed to just looming them with, say, a bunch of zip ties. But it also is very frustrating, and it is arguably maybe a little dangerous because this plastic does melt. Then again, it also, I think, melts at the same temperature as pretty much what the printer is made out of, so there's that. Now, for tonight's Monster Dawn, In the Mouth of Madness, starring Sam Neill, I have already watched that film last week, and I may also be responsible for getting it on the list. I don't know. Because it certainly isn't a movie I've heard of before until Sam Neill died, and a lot of people recommended it to me because I didn't have many previous positive experiences with Sam Neill's acting. I know that he's supposed to be at the top of his game in things like The Hunt for the Wilder People, which I actually haven't seen that either. And also In the Mouth of Madness. And In the Mouth of Madness immediately appealed a lot more to me because that's just kind of how I like my films. Feel-good movies are not generally the kind of thing that I like. And comedies are also very tricky for me. It's not that I can't like them. It's that they have to be a particular kind of humor. Like, I tend to like more ridiculous, slapsticky kind of kind of comedy films if I'm going to like a comedy film, or something just really weirdly high concept is another one. But there we go. But In the Mouth of Madness is a horror, and kind of a psychological horror, and a Wes Craven film, but not a very good Wes Craven film. In fact, the terrible part about In the Mouth of Madness is that the whole film isn't very good, except for Sam Neill. Like, the rest of the acting, not particularly great. The rest of the writing, not particularly great. Oh boy. What are you catching on down there? Oh, I see. Oh, this is gonna be a fiasco. Let's cheat. we'll take this panel, we'll sneak under this panel by removing this one screw and kind of slipping the whole cable under it. Sometimes we can get away with nonsense like that. Sometimes. Oh, am I wrong? Is this going to be a problem? I think this is going to be a problem still. Oh boy. How are we going to get that through? Oh boy. I think we have to tip the printer again in order to get at that. What a mess. All right. Try to tip the printer without destroying everything on my whole workbench. That's gonna be fun. How about I stand up to do that? There we go. Okay. Well, I can see the cable. Now I can try to thread it all the way through. And oh dear, I made another mistake. That cable is like 8 million times longer than it needs to be. Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Why would it be anything but? Why would it be anything but? Okay, well, what do we want to do about that? I think what we want to do about that is first flip it back the other way and finish the cable from the side. I keep hitting everything. Hit my microscope, hit the bench cam. Fair amount of gymnastics is involved for this. There we go. That was fun. Okay, let's see if I can move things around just enough for you to actually see what the heck I'm doing. Here's our cable. There's our controller. As you can tell, it's not particularly far away. Let's move that over just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, I way overestimated this. I thought that we were over here where the MCU is, but it actually is going right into the controller chamber. So I completely overestimated how much cable we need. Well, that's a good thing, because you don't want the other problem. Okay, so let's see here. How do we want to do this? I want to have enough to get to here and kind of a service loop dealy. Oh, And, oh, that is... How am I supposed to even get that out of there? That is just stuck right next to it. So, probably something like this long. So let's go in here and we'll pull out some of the cable, and then we'll measure again, and then we'll cut the sheath short, and then cut the cables long. And then we'll take this remaining sheath and we're going to just pull the cables through the sheath. And now we have a pre-sheathed cable the next time we want to do any of this nonsense. Okay, now comes the real fun part, which is now that we've got that cable all the way through here, we have to solder on another USB connector on the end. Because of course we do. And we need to put the heat shrink on first. And then we have to hopefully try to remember how everything is wired. Okay, if I remember correctly, that's ground. This would be so much easier the other way around. Okay, well, let's turn the soldering iron back on, and we want to clip all of these and actually tin them up. So, what movie am I going to watch tonight since I'm not watching Monsterdon? Well, so I have a guilty pleasure about movies. I like sub-movies. I like sub-movies. So, movies like Das Boot, movies like The Hunt for Red October, I actually really have a thing about those films. I love them. And the problem is I only have gotten as far as those two films and Crimson Tide. And Crimson Tide I don't actually like all that much because it's kind of a disgusting film. It's a Bruckheimer film. Bruckheimer films are like a styrofoam cup full of coffee. The movie's plot is only as good as the styrofoam is to hold it together. That's it. That's the whole movie. Beyond that, it just crumples into next to nothingness. And every Bruckheimer film is just like this because it's a Bruckheimer film. It's made to just be enough plot in order to hold itself together, and then after that, don't need it. And I know some people really like that and don't have a problem with it, but to me, I'm like, oh, jeez, are you serious? That's not interesting. And it's not like the actors aren't trying to do their job in that. In fact, they really are. Oh, come on. This might not be enough heat on this tip. Do I want to change that out for a different tip? Maybe. Tasty styrofoam. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not like Bruckheimer can't spin an enjoyable film. He can. The fact that films like Crimson Tide actually had any kind of an enduring quality is a testament to the fact that he makes enjoyable films that people do like. But I'm also going to be telling you that... Wow, there's a giant tribble in the way, which is my microphone. You don't want to see me. No, you don't want to see that. No one wants to see what I look like. it's not that that his films aren't like enjoyable. They can be. People enjoy them, have enjoyed them, but they're not necessarily the kind of films I would go back to for a rewatch. And that's mostly because it comes down to the fact that there's just not much plot in them. Like, even Crimson Tide, when you compare it to something like Das Boot or The Hunt for Red October, it becomes very obvious how much everything is a MacGuffin in that film. Like, the whole Rodchenko subplot is a huge MacGuffin in that film. It has nothing to do with anything else. There is no broader, larger world that the film is trying to communicate or explore. It simply is, yeah, there's this guy. He's bad. He's gonna get nuclear bombs. And he's bad. We should probably stop him. And then things happen. That's basically the whole movie. And it's frustrating because it's like, seriously, that's what you're gonna do? That's it? Like, okay, man, sure. Go ahead. But it's just not very enjoyable on a rewatch, you know? And there's nothing wrong with the fact that, you know, if you want a film that just does not have much of a plot, but has just enough of a plot to keep itself together, then sure, cool, fine. Go nuts. Enjoy your film. I'm not here to police the kind of films that you want to enjoy. That's not my jam. I don't care. I just don't think much of Berkheimer's storytelling ability because he doesn't seem to care. He cares enough in order to make the film make sense so that you have an enjoyable 90 minutes. That's it. And the problem is, I really like rewatching movies, and Crimson Tide is a film that barely has much rewatchability for me, simply because it just doesn't have much in the way of a plot to build much tension. Like, they randomly find an Akula class submarine that's fighting against them, but they're effectively a faceless enemy. You don't know anything about them. You have no emotional investment in them. They are just a tick on a box as far as the rest of the film is concerned. And that's my fundamental problem with a lot of Berkheimer, is that a lot of his movies are just like that. They're just ticks on a box. At least with The Hunt for Red October, they kind of integrated the whole you're being shadowed by another Akula because it's actually one of Ramius's former students, and he's there to, quote, kill a friend. Like, that adds drama to it. We actually get to see the other characters, and there's emotional investment in that. You not only feel relief when, you know, when the other submarine is defeated, but also you feel kind of sad about it because it's like, yeah, this is kind of where he was going in the greater geopolitical zeitgeist. And one does not need to talk about what that means for, say, a classic film like Das Boot, which is broadly considered the best sub-film ever done. But I went and said, okay, there's got to be other films. There's got to be other sub-films in here to get my fix, because it can't just be these three films. There's got to be something else. Please let there be something else. Oh, God. And so I dug around, and of course, you know, most search results are crap nowadays because of everyone is on the LLM nonsense. We don't need to write algorithms anymore. We're just going to do one algorithm for absolutely everything. We don't need search algorithms anymore. We'll just let the LLMs do it. Bull. Absolute bull. However, I found a Screen Rant article about a list of 20 submarine films, and there were some films on there I hadn't heard of before. There was the Bedford Incident, which I haven't heard of. Ice Station Zebra, which is another one I haven't heard of. There was another one, and I can't remember what it is, but I found it on archive.org. So I have the two older films. The Bedford Incident's also on archive.org because it's pretty old. But another one was K-19, The Widowmaker. And I went, okay, this is an American film about a Russian crew. This is going to be garbage, isn't it? It's going to be terrible. It's going to just be, like, suffering the entire time. I'm going to be like, oh god, how much jingoistic crap are they going to shove down our throats in this film? And to my surprise, it wasn't that bad. In fact, it was actually more enjoyable than Crimson Tide, in my opinion. Mostly because it wasn't trying to be, you know, an action film. It was trying to be more of a action drama. And it actually gave the crew much more credit. Now, if you're a historian, you will also know immediately how absolutely inaccurate a lot of K-19 The Widowmaker actually is. It's not an accurate film. The original survivors from the disaster, and this is actually something else that was surprising to me, is that the film is actually not a everyone that you know here is going to die film. It's not like Das Boot. It's, no, some of these people actually survived to the present day, to when the film was made. And they and their families were able to actually have input on the script, and did. Now, that doesn't mean that the film is accurate or better as a result, but it feels a lot more respectful than I would have otherwise expected. The characters are properly treated as full characters with motivations and interests and their own sense of, for lack of a better term, patriotism, I guess. And I was kind of impressed by that. I did not expect that to be the case. I expected this just to be more American garbage, but no, it was actually kind of not bad. So I kind of was frankly pleased with that and enjoyed it. Now, that being said, is it as good as other films? No, it's not. There's significant problems with it, and there is a bit of this is tragedy porn as a film. And if you don't like that sort of a thing or don't enjoy that sort of a thing, then you probably shouldn't bother watching this film, and I wouldn't blame you for not wanting to watch it either. Because tragedy porn films are just, yeah. Still, I was frankly surprised about how much more respectful that it could have been for an American film featuring a Russian crew. Apparently Catherine Bigelow directed that one, which probably explains why it was a little bit more respectful than it otherwise would have been. Okay, if I remember correctly... Okay, let go. I can't get the microscope on this one, unfortunately, just because the angles are so bloody awkward right now. You're gonna have to trust me that I'm doing what I can over here, because it's just so awkward. Literally soldering the cable through the machine. I need a tweezers. But another film that was on there that I didn't expect to be on there at all, but was James Cameron's The Abyss. I'm talking about sub-movies, gut bomb, because I have a guilty pleasure with sub-movies. I'm sorry, everybody. I have a guilty pleasure about sub-movies. I'll gladly tell you that I love my crappy films, and yet I feel guilty about liking sub-movies. That's the kind of person I am. I wouldn't have expected The Abyss to be a sub-film, but it actually is. We already talked about The Hunt for Red October. Cut bomb, you missed the conversation. But if you want my full thoughts on that, there is a blog post on deninet.com that reviews The Hunt for Red October under the Wench Watches tag. Go to deninet.com/wenchwatches. That's wench, not wrench. Justin still hasn't figured out that it's wedge yet, has he? I saw him on John's stream yesterday, and I think he still missed it. Keep the counter going. How many days can we keep Justin in the dark about what my actual username is? Okay, D negative is next to ground, which we decided was going to be green. God, this is so awkward. This is so awkward. What am I doing? I could have had an easy hobby. Like, I don't know, doing fuck all. No, I had to be the kind of person that goes, I know, I'm gonna build robots for fun. Oh, this is so awkward. Oh, and this cable is so stiff to work on. So instead of Monsterdon tonight, I think that I'm going to watch The Abyss, since it was on that list, and I'm kind of like, yeah, sure. I haven't seen that in a while. Full disclosure, The Abyss was the third DVD I ever bought. The third one. I think the first one was 2001, and the second one was Ghost in the Shell. And after that, I started losing track. No. Oh, this is so awkward. Oh. This cable is so stiff. The positioning is awkward. I can't get the microscope in here. It's just awkward, awkward, awkward. And I can't find my good angled tweezers. I only have these crappy ones that are already bent on the bottom. Also, I soldered that cable wrong. That's the red cable. That should not go there. I was too focused on trying to get any of these soldered. Universe. Oh, that does not look good. I think I might have gotten that cross soldered. Oh no. don't trust that line. I don't trust it. It's too flat now. Oh, this is just going so badly. Actually, yes. The list actually did include U571. So, you think it's terrible, huh? Is it terrible enough for me to watch, or like, do you want me to go? Oh God, please don't. Do you want me to suffer, Trina? Please tell me if you want me to suffer. That end is all screwed up now. Ah, darn it. This is what happens when I don't have my microscope. And this is an A connector. It should be relatively easy. It's just being such a pain in the butt because it's so awkward. Well, I nearly burned my finger doing that, but it's on there now. Okay. Well, in theory, that's all of the lines soldered together. Let's see if I cross-wired any of them. Yep. First one, cross-wired. God damn it. Do I need to start over? Clip all of these off and start over again? Unless that's the ID line. Is that the ID line? It is the ID line. Okay. We don't care about that one. That one's usually written to ground anyways. Okay. Oh, that's classic. It was a UK crew which did it, not an American one. Of course. That sounds like the kind of myth-making that we're engaged in constantly. Okay, well, the good news is none of them are cross-wired. Okay. So none of them are cross-wired. Hopefully we actually have them wired correctly otherwise. So let's get that heat shrink on. At least in K19, they made an effort to, like, present it straight up. Okay, there we go. Okay, in theory, we should have a cable now. Where's my cable tester? I'm gonna come back here. Yeah. What's next? Is my bench gonna break? My chair? Come on, universe. What's up next? What's gonna happen next? Okay. Well, here is my problem. This cable is in here. And that side is where the other end is. So what are we gonna do to test that without... I suppose I could shove it back through the panel here to get closer to each side so that we can just directly run the testing line through. That isn't ideal, but maybe that's what we're gonna do, because it will be easier. Also, I don't think I have any extension cables, so I'm not sure if I have any choices. Wiggle, wiggle. Ah! It came out. Of course it did. Why wouldn't it do that? Okay. Survey says we're fine. Ha-ha! See? Regular lights. Can barely see that through the bench cam. This cable sheet is terrible. Oh my goodness. It just pops right out. Oh, that's awful. That's just terrible. Okay, well, in theory that should work. In theory. Plug it in, tie that one down, get a nice little loop in there. This one's the real critical one, so we'll tie that one down, tie this one down, and then this one. And technically we probably don't even need to tie this one down, but it helps. And there you go. One USB-C cable. Isn't that nice? Look at how nice that is. Look at that. You might wonder, is that going to be a problem motion-wise? And the answer is no, because this is pretty much constrained to wherever this cable stay is. Okay. Can you see why it takes like a year to build one of these things? Design this little bracket. Get the right screws and all of that stuff. There we go. That's nice. Now that turned out really, really nice. Very, very happy with that. And you can still kind of snip it from the front without having to actually remove it to unplug this board, without having to remove the bed. Also, the reset switch is right here, so you can get to that easily from the front without having to do much either. Now the bed assembly, you might worry that, oh no, that's right next to the bed assembly, it's going to get too hot. Well, I'll show you why that's not going to be a problem. Once I figure out where I put the bed, there it is. So here's the bed assembly, and that's why it's not a problem. Gore-Tex, there is an insulation panel, and also there's an air gap. So all of that just sits on top of here. Technically, we could probably put the bed back on this thing today. And that actually constrains, that actually gives us plenty of space. This has already endured prints, so it's fine. We haven't had any problems, so the same idea for the same design, it should be fine. Most of the heat's going up. We're not in space, so we have convection that goes up. So we don't need to worry about that. It should be fine. Should be. Okay, that means that we should only have to get this cable back in and then plug that into the Pi 3 that's hiding inside of here. After I knock everything over on my desk again. Okay. Where are you? I see you. There you are. Okay, what I'd like to do is get this in here. This is the top, and I did not design this as a right angle. Oh, that might have been a huge mistake. What can I do about that? Could I move this back at all? I think I probably could. Because I don't need that camera connector any longer. The Nighthawk, the Nocturne camera doesn't use it. So maybe I can move this back a little bit? No? Nope. I see, it hits this cable stay. I could lose that cable stay. It'd fit if I could get it in there. But there's this Ethernet adapter that's in the way, and it's hitting this power adapter. Feels like I'd have to get rid of this cable stay here in order to make that work. I bet that will let me slide that back a little bit. Maybe. Still can't get that Ethernet port out. Oh, don't tell me. Let me guess. I bet if I remove this one screw on the power port, that this little stay will get out of the way. Yep. Allowing me to get to the Ethernet. Yep. Which allows me to get this cable in, which I foolishly forgot to make that right angle. Unless I want to cut it and redo it again, which I could. It would just suck. Actually, I think I'm going to have to. I think I might actually have to do that now, because I don't think there's enough space in here for that. So it's either that or I put a right angle adapter there, and that's not going to work either. Oh, I'm an idiot. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. That means I'm going to have to do that whole thing all over again. Damn it. Oh. Because I was a fool and I didn't check to see if this was right angle before putting the heat shrink on. And if I did notice that, I would have wired this differently. I could try to clip that off, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be just going to be awful because it's self-sealing and it's got glue on it. No, that's just going to be terrible to do. Yep. So, I need to redo this entire connector again because I forgot that this is a right angle. Universe, give me strength. Alright, well, we're going to do that again, but we're going to try to be a little slower and more careful about it. Let's get some more light in here. There we go. Not knocking everything off the bench, right? No? Okay. Oh no, someone pinged me on Discord. Just a sec, let me check. I want to make sure it's not my housemate needing something from me. Apparently my cat is lonely. She's wondering where I am. It's like, I am in Shopland, Una. I cannot return. I have disappeared into the land of Shop. Okay. Ideally, how we do a right angle is going to be, we're going to go through this gap here that's in between this barb and that, which technically weakens the cable. However, we might not have a choice. Okay. Man. To do all that, get that far, and then discover that I forgot to make it a right angle. I feel awful about that. Okay, and it has to come out on this side. So let's position it like that, because in the end, it's going to be like that. So it needs to be that way, actually. Because if it's going to go in like this, we translate that over, flip it around, it should be like that, I think. All right, so whatever is toward the machine, that direction should be the way that we want that to go. Okay. Darn it, darn it, darn it, darn it, darn it. Okay. And then what is the next one after that? That is ground. So then it's D positive, D negative. Okay, so D positive is next. There we go. These two pins in the middle are always such a pain in the butt because they're so close to each other. There's like no good way of dealing with that. Oh, and this one has a loose conductor. Well, let's get that fixed before I actually add more to it, because that will cause bad problems. Nope, I don't like that. Awkwardness all around. I'll try switching hands, but I'm usually not very good at soldering with my left. But we'll try it. Well, that worked better than I expected. Okay, let's try the next one. Maybe I should have used the thin wires. It would have been less arduous to deal with. Oh well. Well, what happened there? It's almost like the whole conductor just disappeared on the connector. Am I just having a cursed day with this? Kinda am. Kind of murdering that connector there. Oh man. Oh man, that is just nightmarish what I did to that connector. Oh boy, if this doesn't work at all, I will not be surprised. Also, do you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put the heat shrink tubing on at all. So I may end up doing this a third time, and if it comes to that, I'm going to probably just call it quits for the day, because this is getting too frustrating. Who would have guessed that this one cable would have been the thing that's really frustrating to work on? Okay, and I don't think I have any more pieces of that heat shrink on me right now. So let's go dig around and get some. Or whatever else I can find. Guess it doesn't have to be that particular one. Okay, let's see what we can do. Then we have to do the test again. Yeah, that's what I thought. I can't really get that through. Of course I can't. Wow, that cable is a nightmare, and I can see a solder bridge already. Oh, this is not gonna work. This won't work either. Okay. All right. Okay, so first of all, also, if I screw it up this third time, that's my last USB-A connector. Why is it that this cable is being so difficult? It's like I can't get a good angle on it because of where the connector is. So I'm contorting myself, and that's actually causing half my issues in trying to get this to solder at all. Okay, well, at least I have the heat shrink on there now. This is such a pain in the butt. Why is this being so difficult? What am I doing wrong? I got too into talking about movies and I completely screwed up this cable 3 times as a result. I feel awful. Okay, so far so good. This one's looking a little bit happier and a little bit more straightforward than the last two attempts. Cable has just been cursed. It's just, we had got it too long, it was too frustrating to get in, we couldn't get the connector correct, like, oh man. All of this for an ADXL, which feels like completely too much effort for it. Okay. Okay, there we go. Hopefully third time's the charm. Watch out as I probably solder bridged everything again. And then I'm just gonna go upstairs and cry. Looks right. Let's flip it around and make sure that the connectors actually look right. We've got ground, D positive, D negative, and 5 volts. Looks right. Let's bend that over. Try to get all of that back in the sheathing. You know, I think half the reason why I got into sub-movies and why I enjoyed them is because of the space battle, because of the battle aspect. And I think that I can blame Star Trek II entirely for that. Because Star Trek II has essentially a sub-battle in space. Essentially, that's what they do in the whole Battle of the Mutara Nebula sequence is. It's a sub-battle. That's what it is. Neither of you can see each other. You both have limited visibility and limited technological ability to identify where the other ship is, and that's half of the excitement of the whole sequence. And because I watched that movie 5 quadrillion times as a kid, I am now wedded entirely to this as a genre, because of course I am. Because it's like, oh, I like that. That reminds me of that thing from that one movie that I like. It all comes back to Star Trek eventually. That needs to be even shallower than that. to really get in there. Ideally, I would like that to get under there. Okay, let's seal it up and see if I can make this any less of a fiasco than the last 2 times. Not very pretty, but it does the job. Should be able to just slide that in there. Okay. Not with those tweezers, though. With the other ones, that seemed to have gone for a walk. That's fun. Okay, well. They're probably right in front of me somewhere, too. There they are. Fingers are all tired now. I probably should test this again, shouldn't I? All right, let's do that. Oh, I can't. You know what? We'll live dangerously. No, we won't. USB stuff. That's USB stuff. Is there an extension there? Because my guess is no. Because that's how my luck goes. Who has those? Not me, apparently. However, we do have a keystone. So, a keystone adapter can actually... Do I have another USB-A to USB-A I know that's a weird cable too, technically. I have a USB-C to USB-C because of course I do. Okay. The trick is to see if I can get the tester all the way the heck over there. This is a mess. This is such a mess. It's all been so difficult. Second verse, same as the first, huh? Oh, that was Chekhov's zip tie, wasn't it? Wasn't it? We all know I was going to clip that one eventually to test this. That's just how my luck goes. And we're fine. Why can't I have nice calming hobbies like trying to turn cars around inside of garages? Isn't that what Bill Murray said about being a Ghostbuster? I'm feeling it right now. Okay, now we just need to get the dang thing into the pie. Maybe our old friend, the medical forceps, can help us. Or not. There it goes. It's in. It's in. I'm so tired. Oh, that was an ordeal and 3/4 in order to get all of that stuff in there. You'd think that there would be plenty of room inside of this chassis, but not really. You start moving all the stuff around, it's really tight in here. All right, so now we have 1, 2, 3 connectors all done. That just leaves the Nocturne camera, which I still don't have a mounting solution for. I have no idea how I'm going to do that yet. I've still been trying to think that one through. But now we have everything except the Nocturne camera. We can also put this cable stay back, and we can tighten down these bolts on the Pi, because we have already taken care of that too. That's done. We don't need to worry about that. Okay. So that just leaves the Nocturne camera in order to figure out how to mount that. That's another day's project, I think. That's not going to be today. As there is already so much stuff that we have left to do on this poor project. That's the... Where is the... Oh, that's right. The Nevermores, we mounted them here. Okay, so that's there, that USB cable goes into there. So that's taken care of. We don't need to worry about any of that. What a nightmare of all of these sections. Still, there's just one thing left, which is the Nocturne camera, and then we have to start reprogramming this thing. So that is everything for this time, I think. Turn that off. There we go. Okay. So we still have to make sure that the cable does in fact do what I think it does. Yes, that's all fairly constrained and fairly stable. Okay, pretty happy with that. So we now have the ADXL on the printer. So what's left? Well, we still have to get the Nocturne camera on here. And there's a few different ideas on how to do that. One idea was we'd mount it behind here on the gantry and have it angled such that it's pointing down at the bed, kind of behind the print head, which would make the front of the printer look nicer, but would lead to some pretty tricky decisions. Let's go get the bed. It's not 5 o'clock just yet, but we're getting onwards. Let's get the bed and let's see what that's going to look like. I'm not going to bother. Now this bed is actually a little bit higher than it should be. What are you grabbing on? Okay. Yeah, that can only go so high. So let's say that is not a lot of view space back there. It looked pretty weird because the camera angle would be very shallow. It's a pity because that's a really easy place to connect it to the gantry too. We can't really go under it from the side. We can't attach it to the front. There is a tiny amount of space there, but that's gonna hit everywhere. We could also like loop it up, but then it's gonna hit the top as it goes through. Oh dear, that's a problem. Originally I had it kind of hanging up, pointing down this direction, but it wasn't very useful as a camera. It didn't make very pretty looking videos either, if that's a concern of anybody's. Because there's two real really real concerns with camera placement is you want it to look nice so that you can share a few time lapses of your most impressive prints, although that's kind of passé these days. And you also want to have it so that you can check on the printer and see how it's doing with like first layer adhesion, current layer printing. If you point it at a fixed position near the bed, you're only going to really be seeing a limited amount of the print. As the print gets taller, it goes out of view, and then you don't see what's going on anymore. If you have it attached to the gantry, you may not see the first layer anymore, but you can at least see what the current layer is. So I'm not sure which of those I really want to do right now. They're both equally useful, but I'm not sure which one would be the best. A lot of people also like modify this piece here and actually just have it kind of pointed down and in front. It ruins the appearance of the printer, but it is effective in terms of how it actually keeps it out of the way. The only problem is just routing it such that the line goes around here, pointing here, and then you route the cable around through here to this gantry, to this cable chain that's just behind here. I don't know. I think I spent an inordinate amount of time thinking about this the first time I built this, and kind of settled on they all suck because all my choices kind of suck for this kind of printer. There's just no good place for it because the print head is the one that's moving instead of the bed, and that just causes so many weird problems with camera placement. So I don't know. We're also getting onwards to 3 hours here, so I'm thinking we're definitely done for the day. It's almost like what I would have to do is actually like hook up the printer or hook up the camera and just see what looks good. Because if I were to just stuff it from the top down, that kind of gives you an idea, and it's not terrible, but it's also just not the best way to do it. It just kind of gets in the way. There's just not a very good place to put a camera of any significant size that's not just going to get in the way on this printer. Just not a good place. Man. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And the camera itself is not small. It's a pretty big camera. It's not like one of those little spy cameras that you would otherwise be able to just stuff anywhere. It's one of these chunky ones. So like down here seems to be the smart choice, but you have to be very careful. And worse, you can run into the print as well, so you have to always be careful that this thing is just high enough that it doesn't hit the print, but also low enough that you can actually see anything useful. But that's kind of where I'm at, is that pointing it outwards from here on the gantry has some advantage. You do run the risk of it possibly crashing into the print, because even if you position it way the heck back here with the arm going back and up, you still run that risk. It might be worth it though. I don't know. All my options here really, really feel like they suck. They just all feel just awful. That option might be probably the least awful. Because you could just take the mount and mount it back here, and then however it gets onto the printer, and probably go like that. So let's play with that a little bit. The other worry is that as the gantry goes up, you're going to hit a limit of how tall that can actually be mounted, because you'll hit the top of the enclosure. So that's actually another problem. Like, it can't be too low because it needs to be able to, like, miss the first layer, but it can't be too high because if it's too high, it's going to hit the top of the enclosure at Z max, although I think that might work. That'd be a little weird, but it might work. Let's see if I can take this thing apart enough to get an idea of what that would look like. So oh, that's not terrible. It's not as good of an angle as I'd like it to be. Oh, that screws off an adventure now. We don't know where that went. Well, that would probably work, actually. Like, it'd be pointed pretty much below it, below the print. I don't know, we'd have to see what that looked like, but so it would be an angle arm like this. Yeah, I know my audio is always low on this rig. It doesn't matter how high I turn it up. I'm not sure what's wrong with it, and I'm not sure if there's anything I can do to make it any better at this point. I've just kind of started, I'm just living with it. I'm just living with it. Yeah. So using whatever nonsense I can pull together here. We have this. We'd probably just clip this off or something. Maybe reprint this extension somehow. And mount it back here, where it would probably work just fine and would be generally out of the way and not hit the bed or anything. I'm not sure how nice of a view it would be, but it might actually work just fine the way that is. So yeah, that's an idea. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's also the fact that this this brace is a little bit loose. Like it works. It's just that it feels like it could pop out a little bit too easily in places. And again, maybe that's fine. I don't know. But if we were to mount it like this, then the advantage is that we could route the cable up through here, through the gantry cable chain, and it just stays out of the way constantly, and it follows the height of the print. Risks are that if the camera falls off, or if this loses its tightness, or it droops, we could have a print crash there pretty quickly. Reducing the complexity of this part would probably be the happy medium there, because I can't think of another way of doing this that's not going to be an immense pain in the butt. But if we do it like this, it might clear the top, and it might be enough at that point to be able to print. Now, we can't actually get it this tall anyways, because the top of the print head's going to hit the top of the enclosure. That's going to be a problem for another time, I think. I think that we're done for the day, because it is 4:20. If you have them, smoke them. And I think what we're going to do instead is we're going to wrap up, and I am going to go do the remainder of my chores for Sunday, and then get myself into a nice relaxing evening mode for watching a movie over dinner. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you all for joining me today. I really enjoyed you all being here. Bye!